What's going on, guys? Welcome back. This is video number 3, phase 3 of our program, where we're going to be talking about expression. I've heard some very interesting things and feedback from people when I try to tell them what I'm after when I'm talking about expression. Sometimes I'll say the word self-expression. People will be like, what the hell, self-expression? That sounds really dumb. What does that have anything to do with anything? Well, there are a lot of ways in which this matter, and I'm going to go through a few of them here. Expression, essentially, I don't think anyone would argue that by design, we all have a unique fingerprint. We all have been, there's something about the way that we perceive the world that the diversity of life is just very apparent, right? So it's, you're going to attract and relate to some people and you're going to repel and not be connected to a lot of others. So the way that we express ourselves is highly, highly important. And to be quite honest, one of the downfalls, I think, of the education system right now is the fact that children aren't expressing. They're not allowed to kind of express themselves. We all have different characteristics, but whatnot, that's a whole other video. So one of the first things that I want you guys to understand is your own nervous system. So one of the big things that I think happens to people when we're working out is they don't recognize that this is a neuromuscular process. This is a neurological process. The stress is being placed on your body, some sort of external stimulus, and then your body reacts. And given that you do this over time, your body says, okay, well, gosh, if I'm going to be dealing with putting 50 pounds over my head for my whole life, I better get better at it. And so that's what it does. Working out is just a manipulation of the science behind our neuromuscular system. So the big thing, and there's a few small cues that we can understand. How am I responding to this is the basic question that I think you need to get yourself familiar with. So a lot of times what will happen is there will be this response of, let's say, like fear or worry initially, like, oh God, this is going to be so intense. I don't like it, right? There's this discomfort about changing the shell that you're in. You got to get out of the one you're comfortable in and get into a new one that fits a little bit more within aligned with who you are. So there's a lot to go in on this, but for right now, just recognize that your nervous system is that which responds, your response, and your capacity to recognize your own response. So I respond very well my body responds well to a particular type of working out, right? Some people respond really well to swimming. Some people respond well to dancing. Some people respond well to calisthenics, weight training. This is where like the idea of your own program comes into play, because when you get a better idea of how you respond, you get a better idea of how to build your program. So another form of expression here is your posture. So energetically, right? The more open you are with your posture, the more that things are up, the more that you're relaxed with these muscles, the less tense you are, the more open you are physically tends to relate energetically in the way that you receive and meet the world. Because we meet the world with our face. We meet the world with, to be quite honest, all of our vulnerable parts in front of us. So most animals, like four-legged animals, have their squishy vulnerable parts down to the floor, and they can protect it, and they can make their neck spit out, and to fight what they need to. But human beings, we have this inherent vulnerability as we walk around with our squishy parts facing everyone else. So our posture is very unique in that it's quite the expression of our spirit. So people who are, yeah, I don't know, man. Right? Those types of people attract a certain type of thing in their life. You can tell the energy of a person just by looking at their posture. So it's very important that you're expressing what you want to. So one of the things that I find the most valuable are the wall and the floor, because these are two things that are in a line, right? And so we can use these to help get ourselves in alignment. So one of my favorite things in the world is to tell people to just lay on the floor. Put your feet up, put your head down, and just breathe and lay on the floor. Let gravity have a chance to pull you down and contract those muscles behind you and open up your body and open up your chest, open up your heart, etc. So in addition to that, while we're down there, breathing is a form of expression. Breathing is a way that we meet the world, and the breath is something that is a voluntary and involuntary expression of us. So when you're not thinking about it, it's just something that happens to you, right? And when you are thinking about it, it's something that you can do. So in this way, the breath is this mechanism of doing or happening, which is sort of a proactive or passive thing. And it's just, again, these are all energetic principles that I want to kind of relay to you because they're important. People don't seem to think that somehow the mind and the body influence one another. Have you ever heard of the placebo effect? It's one of the most fascinating things on this planet to me. The fact that you can trick the mind to heal the body. Well, essentially, don't think that there isn't use and utility in that elsewhere. So, breathing exercises, as far as a lot of us tend to be tight and tense up in this area, this area, this area. Because think about what happens when you tell like a kid to pay attention, right? They go, as if somehow scrunching eye muscles is what allows you to pay attention, right? Focus. Right? There's this weird thing that happens. So with the breath in particular, when we stay out of here and we, right? All of this gets tense. It's not, there have been studies that show that if we can take the breath out of the upper part of the body and actually place it down into the belly, it activates the rest and digest portion of the nervous system, which allows us to kind of calm down, flush, get rid of that, stop the cortisol release in our body, and just kind of allow, I mean, this again requires its own video, but it's very, very important. So you can think about breathing out and down as opposed to up. And this is going to benefit you, and this is something that I believe you should be practicing on the floor. How else do we express ourselves? With respect to diet and exercises, I mean, this is the main thing that we're getting at here when it comes to like building your own program. You have to find something that works for you. There's a reason why like the vegan, let's say, lifestyle has a stereotype to it. There's a particular image that you can put inside of your head when someone says that they're a vegan. And there's also an image you can put inside of your head from someone who's like vehemently against veganism, right? So there's this, so it actually reflects the person, the style you choose. And I've tried a few different styles. Like I have tried vegan. I've tried like the lower carb. I've tried a whole bunch of different things just to see what works for me. Again, what's more important is this whole, like calories in, calories out has its place, but there's also, is it within your proper alignment, right? And the same thing for working out. You may go through this workout program and decide that weightlifting is not for you, and you really, really like calisthenics and dance, right? It's all about this discovery, this self-discovery, this expression, right? So what really matters the most here is, are we feeling good and in alignment? Do we wake up in the morning energized? Are we actually happy about the decisions we do? And this feeling of alignment is a fascinating one because like we're fine-tuned for meaning, right? When you have a bunch of things balanced in harmony in your life, you actually get this sense of meaning and purpose. And so that's sort of the indicator. And we know what this is like because music does this. Certain music patterns that are well balanced when played out in harmony can fill us with a sense of meaning. And I mean, this is very valuable. So the same thing can happen, right? When you're talking about your expression of your own health, do you feel that? Do you feel like you're listening to a song that you like, right? So these are some of the main ideas here. We'll be going over it more in detail one-on-one, but outside of that, I will catch you all in the next video.